Hi, Samuel Jordan Fitness here, and welcome today to your 30-minute beginner no repeat workout. If you haven't warmed up yet, then click the link in the top right hand corner. If you are now warmed up, our first exercise of this workout is going to be knee tap marches. So let's march on the spot, and we're going to alternate, bringing each knee up really high up to the chest and tap opposite hand to opposite knee. 40 seconds of work. Let's go. So as mentioned in the description, this is a no repeat workout, so we won't be doing any exercises twice. If you need to take any extra rest in this workout, that's absolutely fine. Just pause the video and come straight back in when you feel comfortable. Great work. So in a few seconds when you hear the final beep, take a rest. So next exercise, we're doing inchworms. This is where we hinge at the hips and keep soft knees. We then walk the hands out to a push-up position, walk the hands back and stand up tall. We'll be starting in a few seconds when you hear the beep. Awesome job. In a few seconds, let's take a rest. So next up, we're doing boxed steps. This is where we step the feet forward as if you're stepping into a box. Come down slightly to a lower position, not as much as a squat, and then step the feet back and stand up tall. Let's get into a nice rhythm with this one. Great work. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. Next up, we've got step jacks. This is a low impact alternative to jumping jacks. You're going to step to the side, wave the arms up into the air, and then step back to the middle before doing the same on the opposite side. Again, let's get into a nice rhythm here. Let's get the heart rate up. Great work. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing forward lunges, and we're going to alternate the legs. Only go down as far as feels comfortable for you today, and feel free to use an assistance like a chair or a table to keep your balance if you need it. Let's do these slow and with control. If you do have any problems with your knees, it's probably best to not let your knees go in front of your toes on your front foot as you do the lunge. Awesome job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. Next up, we're doing arm circles forwards. So let's get those arms up and keep them really straight as you draw really small circles forwards. It seems easy at first, but trust me, after a while, these start to really burn. Awesome job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. Next up, we've got body weight squats. So here we hinge at the knees and lower down slowly to the ground, like you're sitting back into a chair. Feel free to use an assistance here, like a chair or a table, to hold on to and keep your balance. Only go as low as feels comfortable for you today. Over time, you'll be able to get more of a range of motion, but as we're at the start of the workout, let's take it easy and go at your own pace. Great work. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. Next up, we're doing arm circles backwards. So this is just like we did a couple of exercises ago, but let's go backwards instead of forwards this time. Make sure you keep your arms really straight, like you're trying to touch the walls either side of you. These really start to burn after a while. Keep your arms up there. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing sumo squats. These are just like bodyweight squats, but we're going to turn the feet out, have them slightly wider than hip width this time. Again, let's only go down as far as feels comfortable for you today and use assistance if needed. Focus on keeping the weight on your heels in this exercise. Awesome job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing boxer punches. Let's get that heart rate high. We're going to be shadow boxing on the spot. Feel free to go for whatever punches feel good for you today. Let's get that energy out. Anything that you may be feeling, let's get it out now. I'm going for 2 straights and 2 uppercuts. Let's do this together. Awesome job. Keep going, let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing back lunges. We'll be alternating the legs that we lunge back on. Again, use assistance here if needed to keep your balance. Let's get nice and low in that lunge, but don't go further than what feels comfortable for you today. Great job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing some kneeling push-ups. So let's get down onto the ground, facing the floor. Keep your knees on the floor as you push up. Keep your elbows tight into your body. If you really want to push it today, feel free to do these push-ups on your toes. Great job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing the classic core exercise, plank. So we're on our elbows and we're going to keep a nice straight line going up the back of our body. Engage your core here and pretend that there's a string pulling on your belly button up towards the ceiling. Awesome job. Try and stay on that hold. We've got a few more seconds before a rest. So next up, we've got glute bridges. So let's get onto our backs and we're going to have feet flat on the floor, just in front of where your fingertips can just about reach your heels. We're then going to drive the hips up towards the ceiling, clench your glutes, and then slowly lower back down. Great job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds when you hear the beat. So next up, we're going to do crunches. This is a classic abs exercise, but let's make sure that our form is good. So we're laying flat on our backs with feet flat on the floor, hands behind the ears, or they can be on your thighs. Let's engage the core as we slowly crunch up. I find it helpful here to pick a spot on the ceiling and just keep staring at that spot as you crunch up. You want to make sure that you're using your abs and core here and not straining the neck. Also, it's really important that you keep your lower back flat on the ground and there's no arch in your back on the floor. Great job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing bird dogs. This is really good for strengthening your back and lower back. So we're going to be in a tabletop position, and then slowly and with control, raise opposite arm and opposite leg out straight, and then slowly lower back down to that neutral position. Let's alternate sides as we go. Awesome work. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing high plank step-ins. This is another one that's really good for your core. So we're up in a high plank position, and then slowly, one by one, step the feet forward and then back again to that high plank position. Great job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we've got dead bugs. Let's lay flat on our back and then raise your legs with a bend in the knees so that your shins are parallel with the ground. Arms are facing up towards the ceiling, and then we're going to drop opposite arm and opposite leg onto the floor. Raise them again with control and then do the same on the opposite side. Awesome job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing reverse crunches. These are really quite challenging. We're going to be laying flat on our back on the ground. Bring the legs up and you can cross your feet. You're then going to slowly, with control, pull your knees up towards the chest. It's important here that we're not rocking and using momentum to get your knees up. We need to engage the core and focus on the abs pulling the lower body towards us. Great work. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we've got bridge marches. These are a bit more advanced than the glute bridges that we did earlier. So we do a glute bridge where we bring the hips up off the ground, and then we're going to march opposite knees up towards the chest. Try to keep your core and your glutes engaged as you march your knees up. Awesome job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next exercise is going to be donkey kicks, and we're using the right leg. So we're in a tabletop position, and then slowly with control, we're going to kick the right foot up towards the ceiling. Make sure that you keep your back straight and there is no arch in your lower back. Great work. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing the same on the other side. So we're in that tabletop position, and then we're going to kick the left foot up towards the ceiling. Again, make sure that there is no arch in your lower back, and let's do these slow and with control. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we've got swimmers. We're laying flat on our front on the floor. Let's keep arms outstretched up above the head. We're then going to slowly raise opposite arm and opposite leg up towards the ceiling, but only as far as feels comfortable for you today. Great job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing seated arm pulses. So we're sat on the floor with feet flat on the floor, and then arms are going to be straight out in front of us. Slowly pulse them up and down and try and keep them as straight as possible. Awesome job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next exercise is curtsey lunges. This is quite an advanced lunge. So if it's too much, then let's do some regular forward or back lunges. If you're going to give these ones a go, then I suggest not putting the foot too far out to the side as you start to do them. See how your knees feel, and if they feel okay, then go for that low lunge. Awesome work. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. Next up, we're doing some side punches, so let's get that heart rate back up. We're going to take a step to the side and punch to the wall side of you, taking turns with each side, and make sure to get your hips involved in that punch. Awesome job. Let's get that energy out. Any pent up emotions you may have, let's punch them out now. Keep going, and in a few seconds, let's take a rest. So now we've got lunge twists. This is another alternate of the lunge. We're really working the legs today along with the rest of the body. So forward lunges, and as you lunge, we're going to keep the hands together and point them to the leg that we're lunging on. Awesome job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, we're doing some kneeling push-up inchworms. So as we did right at the start of the workout, we hinge at the hips and keep soft knees. We then walk the hands out to a push-up position. Put your knees down onto the ground as you do a push-up before walking the hands back and standing up tall. Awesome job. Let's take a rest in a few seconds. So next up, really tough exercise this one. We're doing a side plank with our right elbow on the ground. Try and keep the body as straight as possible. You will start shaking. You've got this. Keep your core really tight on this one. Let's do this. I'm sure your core is burning here. Your right obliques will be on fire. Stay in that plank. You've got this. Few more seconds and then a rest, I promise. So we're going for the same on the other side now. I know it might be quite a lot on your core, but trust me, this is going to really pay off. We're doing side planks, left elbow on the ground. Let's do this. So this is the last exercise of this workout. Stay in that plank. Your obliques, your core, your abs will be on fire. You've got this. If you are shaking a lot, that's fine. That is natural. That's what happens. Stay in that plank. Let's stay there together. Come on, only a few more seconds before we're done with this workout. And that is it. Well done for completing this workout. You should be really proud of yourself. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to my channel and click the notification button. You can click the link in the top right hand corner for a short cool down and stretch routine. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next workout.